Today we're going to be doing a Pilates mat class. No props needed, just a bit of space. All right, roll your mat out nice and flat. Sometimes it's nice to have a mat and a towel with Pilates because it's a lot of laying on your back. But we're going to start sitting. Draw the flesh out from underneath your sit bones, sitting up nice and tall in your neutral spine. This neutral spine is nice and curved. So your knees are hip distance apart, hands gently resting on the knees. We're going to find our three-dimensional or Pilates breath. We're going to inhale through our nose and exhale through our mouths. And inhale through your nose and exhale through your mouth. And as you exhale, you'll feel your sit bones slightly drawing together using your pelvic floor muscles, not your glutes. So it's sort of in front, not behind. When you inhale, you should feel the thumbs kind of moving away from each other. You're going to start with those hands forward, but not reaching forward. You're keeping that nice connection in the abs, and you're going to scoop the abs under into neutral and then into imprint, and then lengthen back up. Now, if you have anything going on in your low back, you can always hinge back, keeping that neutral spine, hands under your knees. Otherwise, you're going to exhale, take that gentle imprint, and inhale, lengthen right back up. The movement is in the low back or the lumbar. So you're kind of making a J shape with your spine. As you exhale, roll behind the sit bones, and then inhale, lengthen up. And exhale, reach those hands towards the sky and right back to shoulder height. You can always reach one hand up at a time if that feels like too much, taking your other hand to your knee for support. But otherwise, both hands up. And again, as your arms reach up, you'll feel an increased work in the abdominals. Exhale, inhale. Try not to let the shoulders lift up, but keep them nice and dropped down. And you're going to hold, feeling that beautiful collarbone opening up, rounding forward or lengthening the spine forward, and stack up to neutral. Keeping everything nice and strong, rolling behind the sit bones. Reaching those hands up, and you're going to hold, keeping that nice connection. Holding it, strong core, or you can always keep your neutral with your hands behind your knees. Opening one arm to the side and back to center. Then the other arm, cueing those oblique muscles. If you'd like to add a twist, go ahead and do so. Try to let the arms not cross your knees so that you can really reach the arms in opposition. Get a little bit more rotation into those abdominals if rotation is something you are looking for today. Exhale. Inhale, rotate. Exhale, back to center. Float those hands up and round or hinge all the way forward and stack the spine to neutral. Reach the arms forward and again up to the ceiling, holding those abs, keeping that nice connection, really deepening those core muscles. Now you can float the hands down, and we're going to lift one leg at a time, really finding that oblique connection, or you can keep the hands again over the head. Either way is fine, or you can reach the hands forward to shoulder height for sort of a middle ground. As you exhale to lift the leg, try not to just lift from the knee, but really lift the whole femur or the large leg bone up to your chest and right back down. Really finding those strong ab muscles. Rounding forward or lengthen forward all the way up, stacking that spine. You're going to go ahead and move a little bit further forward on your mat. Reach your hands forward and you're going to roll behind the sit bones, coming all the way down. If this is too much for you, you can just roll behind your sit bones or hinge behind your sit bones as far as feels appropriate for you. Otherwise, you're going to take that nice connection and exhale, rolling behind the sit bones. You can always lift one hand at a time and take this as an alternative. Or you can lift both hands and roll all the way back and up. The further you keep your feet from your hips, the more challenging this exercise is. But otherwise, you can just roll all the way down, reach those hands back and over your head without opening the rib cage, and then exhaling all the way back and up. But take this as feels appropriate for your body. Exhale, rounding forward. Lengthen that spine each time, finding that neutral. Exhale up. Inhale, lengthen. I'm really trying to use both my obliques in flexion and my transverse, which is that deep layer of abdominals that start around your spine and wrap all the way around your torso. Go ahead and bring your feet a little closer. They're still hip distance apart, still neutral spine. So you can see that my spine stays nice and long. As you inhale here, I'll reach my arm up so you can see the articulation of the spine, really scooping the tailbone under, finding that imprint, and then rolling the hips up and rolling the hips down. But I'm going to have you guys keep your hands down by your sides. So we're going to go ahead and roll those hips up. Keeping that nice connection, nice flat body. Don't pop the ribs or sink the hips, but nice and flat as you roll back and down. Finding that beautiful spine articulation. If spine articulation is not something that's in your wheelhouse, go ahead and just hinge at the hips. But either way, you'll get a nice connection through the inner thighs if you press the big toes down towards the floor, making sure you stay nice and parallel. And you'll also get a lot of ab work if you keep that nice neutral spine the entire way. More hinging at the hip than finding that spine articulation. You're going to exhale, come on up, nice and flat through your body. This is a nice little way, if you keep your fingers on your knees, to really feel if you're keeping the body into a nice alignment position at the apex of your movement. Exhaling up. Keeping that nice connection, we're going to hinge at the hips, pulse it down and up. Keeping that spine nice and still so that you're really moving from the hips and really pressing into the big toes so that your knees don't fall open to the sides, keeping those upper abs really engaged, nice tight ribs. Exhale, lift, hold, keep that nice connection, lift one heel and press it down, then the other heel. And you're really trying to move slowly, like you're pressing through something with a high viscosity, like you're juicing a lemon underneath your knees, really keeping those legs parallel. As you exhale, lower those heels, still keep those abs engaged, tucking that tailbone under and keeping the ribs. Now, you're trying not to let your hips shift from side to side. Exhale, shift and shift. So you're finding a little bit of rotation. Now, if this is not appropriate for your spine, then you're going to just keep on lifting one heel at a time. Rotation can be quite challenging for a lot of people, but this is great if anyone who wants to mobilize their pelvis, rolling back and down and right back to imprint, rolling back and up. Now keep your hips still this time so there's no shifting. And you're going to lift one leg up and right back down, and the other leg lifts up and right back down. If this is outside of your wheelhouse, just lift one heel and then lower the heel and lift the other heel and lower the heel. But either way, you want to make sure that your hips are nice and stable. I'm using my hands to feel if my hips are shifting. I'm not holding my hips still, but I'm just gently resting my my hands against my hips to feel any slight movement or shift in the pelvis. Exhale up and down, really finding that nice articulation through the feet. You're going to pulse it up and down. Scoop that tailbone under. Now, if you're just lifting your heel, you're still going to lower and lift the hips, just keeping one heel gently off the floor, pulsing it up. Keeping those abs strong. Shift. Engage those abs. Shift other side. Pulse it up. Exhale. Nice and strong in the core, not opening up those ribs, keeping that pelvic floor engaged and those deep abdominals to engage to keep the torso nice and strong. Exhale and float it back and down. Very good in those legs. Walk those feet out a little bit away from you. Reach the hands to ceiling and exhale, roll all the way up. If this is not appropriate for you, go ahead and roll to your side and come all the way up to sitting. We're going to go ahead and roll on over and come to all fours. Nice strong abdominal connection here. You're going to keep that nice connection. You can tuck your toes under and float your knees off of the floor. If this is too much, you can always keep your knees on the floor or shift a little bit more weight back and towards your heels so less weight is on your wrists and right back down. Engage those abs, float the knees up and press back into downward facing dog and right into some tricep push-ups. Now you can always keep your knees nice and bent in this particular exercise. or you can keep the legs long, whatever feels good for you. It's like you're trying to place the crown of your head between your hands. Exhale on the way up. Nice and strong. You can keep those knees bent at any point, floating the heels off of the floor or just holding that downward facing dog. Either way, you'll feel your arms and shoulders working. Press back, take a little bit of a stretch, rolling or hinging forward to all of your plank position. All of those abs are really working as we hold it, keeping that core really connected. You can bend your knees, floating back and down. You bring your knees a little closer together. Make sure your pelvis is nice and neutral, and extend your leg up and into alignment, reaching the opposite arm and leg away. If this is too much, you can always come down to your elbows or just one elbow. It's totally fine. But if you're feeling good, reach the opposite arm and leg away from each other. Exhale, lengthen for 2 and 3. Now you'll never lift higher than really that nice straight line, because anatomically we can't really lift higher than that without shifting either our hip or our back. Bending your knee, reach your arm out to the side. We're going to pulse it up. Really try to keep those abs working so the pelvis stays nice and stable. Hold it, extend the arm and leg, and float everything back and down. And again, keeping that nice connection, other side. And pick whichever position feels good for you. Exhale, lift, keeping everything nice and strong. Really strong arms, trying not to lock your bottom arm or your supportive arm so that you don't take the weight into the joint, but that you're really working the whole muscle of the arm. Reach that arm out to the side and pulse it up. 3, 4, 5, 6. Tuck that tailbone under, keep everything really working, and extend the arm and leg and reach it back and down. Tuck those toes under. You can come to your elbows, or you can stay up on your hands, whatever feels good for you. You're going to float those knees up, step out, step in, step in. Left, right, and right. Left, right, left, and hold. Keeping everything really working. Step back, step back. You can always hold that plank instead of moving the legs. You can always just hold in all fours, or you can come down to your elbows and hold. Either way is fine, but we're going to release and roll on up. Now, reach your arms forward, and we're going to sit back towards our heels and then recover. If you have anything going on with your knees, I recommend placing a towel or a yoga block between your knees so you can squeeze against it and get a little bit more ab connection. Try not to stick your butt out when you go, but keep everything nice and upright so you're using that nice core muscles. If you are squeezing something between your knees, you should have a little bit more protection of the patella or the floating bone in the knee. But otherwise, we're going to sit back and we're going to pulse it. Exhale. You feel everything working. 3, 2, 1. Pulse it and release. Coming all the way up. Reach those hands down. Now, I'm going to come down onto my elbows and extend my legs out, lowering into a plank. Point my toes, flex my toes. Point my toes, flex my toes. Now I can stay on my knees and keep the same movement, but I'm getting that nice connection either way. Try not to cross your ankles. Keep everything nice and parallel. As you find that strength and that mobility, you're going to step in and release. You can always take this as a movement here in your shoulders, or you're going to take it into what is called a dolphin push-up. So you're pressing back. And I'm not trying to arch my low back to lift it up. I'm trying to almost round through my low back. So I'm still using my abs, even as I do this kind of inverted push-up. Exhale on the pushback. Side to side. Now, if this is too much, you can always lift one leg or the other leg if you want an oblique exercise, but you want to avoid, you can also bend your knees like this. If you want to avoid rotation, this is a good one. Just pick your spice level today. This one is nice, but if you have anything going on your low back or in your kind of lumbar or your thoracic, this sometimes can aggravate your joints. So just take this as you need it. And we're going to go ahead and roll back, taking a shell stretch, activating those abs, and then roll all the way back and up. I don't know about you, but I am covered in sand. We're going to go ahead and come down to laying on our stomachs. We're going to have our heels together, toes apart, but the open as wide as the mat. I'm going to have lateral rotation or outward rotation. I'm going to tuck my tailbone under, pull my ribs in, and my elbows are at shoulder height, and my head is resting as I lift my arms up, and I just activate that upper back. Now, I'm not trying to crank into my low back, but I'm really engaging those abs to support the low back. If you feel any pressure in your pubic bone, you can place a little cushion underneath your pelvis. We're going to move into swan, which is a slight thoracic extension. You're going to inhale on the way up and exhale, but not crunching into your low back, but exhale on the way down. So you're really using those core muscles to support the low back or the lumbar. Tuck the tailbone under, lengthen the spine, and inhale up into extension, opening that chest, and exhale back and down. This is one of my absolute favorite exercises, and lengthening the spine, coming all the way up. I'm not really working my legs very much. I'm really using my core, and I'm using my arms to support my upper body. I can float those elbows up and lengthen the spine. I'm not pushing up, but I'm tucking the tailbone under to find that nice supported position for my spine. Because extension is so important. It's something that we don't do all the time, but it's so good for our backs. However, if this is not good for your back, just come up to that nice neutral position, just hovering to 1/2 inch, and you're going to hold it. You're going to reach those arms back by your hips and exhale, dive forward. If you want to add extension, you can, but again, we're not cranking into our backs. We're exhale forward, inhale, reach and extend while engaging the abdominals. And for breaststroke, exhale forward, inhale, extension. Inhaling is a natural extension, so it kind of helps facilitate your movement. Exhale, try not to crank the neck, but stay nice and strong through the abdominals, keeping the body really supported. Tucking that tailbone under, you're going to float your legs off the ground, reaching the opposite arm and leg away from each other for swimmer. And you can stay nice and strong and move quicker, but either way, you don't really want your torso moving at all. You can have the breath pattern of your choice. You can go inhale 2, 3, 4, 5, exhale 2, 3, 4, 5, inhale 2, 3, 4, 5, or you can do a slow inhale and exhale. Reaching back, place the hands by your chest, tuck the tailbone under, and lift up. And we're going to do little push-ups. Exhale 2 and 3. You can always place your knees on the floor, really trying to lift from the rib cage. Nice and strong. Exhale. Try not to hold your breath. You can always bend your knees at any point and keep that nice connection. And also just hold this on your elbows if your wrists are done. So keep that nice connection, whatever works for you. And hold in that plank. Try not to hyperextend your elbows, soft knees, tuck those toes under, and sit back. Nice little shell stretch, rounding through the spine. Roll back up. Very good connection in those abs. I'm going to flip on around. I am super enjoying the beginnings of this sunset. Exhale, you're going to roll behind your sit bones and roll all the way down, or make your way all the way back and down, whichever is good for you. But either way, we're going to place our hands behind our neck to support the head, moving from the rib cage, folding those ribs into your internal organs. So you're really folding from your ribs and not just lifting your head up and cranking that spine. So you really exhale, deepen that connection. If you feel like you're really pushing into the feet, you can lift up the heels so just the balls of the feet are touching. As you find that will help you kind of find a deeper connection to your abdominals and stay out of those hamstrings and glutes. You're going to lift one leg up, exhale, pulse it. Exhale, nice and strong, so that you're really finding that deep core connection. And floating up, switching legs. You can either lift the leg or drop the leg down and lift the other one up as you pulse it up. You'll feel that you're going to use your obliques here because one leg is up and one leg is down. So your abdominals are having to support your torso in a slightly different way. So it's kind of an isometric way of engaging those obliques. We're going to head into alternating leg, not bending the knee, but moving again from the femur or the leg bones, alternating legs. Exhale, change. And you don't necessarily have to touch your toes to the floor. I like to just hover my toes off of the floor. If this is too much of lifting the legs, you can always keep both legs down or both feet down or both feet up, whatever feels good for you. If that feels good, we're going to go into extending one leg at a time. You can always extend one leg in, switch, other leg, in, switch, in. Whatever is right for you. This is your time. Exhale, change. You're going to rotate towards that knee. If rotation is outside of your wheelhouse, just keep your spine neutral. And you're going to just switch the legs. Exhale, exhale, extending the leg out and either having the rotation or not having the rotation. Now we're going to come up, keeping the same leg movement, or come right back and down. Or if this is outside of your wheelhouse, stick with whatever exercise you are doing to challenge those obliques. I quite love this one, but it is a little bit advanced. Just coming up and down can be a lot for people. You can always place your hands behind your legs for that exercise the whole time, but either way, we're all done. Hug those knees in. We're going to go into a beautiful new exercise. You're going to exhale, extend both legs, and inhale, reach them to your knees. Exhale, extend the arms and legs, and right back and down. Trying to pull those abs down. You can always do one leg at a time. And you can also bring your head down or your knees down or your feet down at any point. If this is too much for your head, you can always just hold and give a little pulse up. Whatever is right for you. Exhale, extend, inhale, reach. And we're going to roll up, or you're going to stay down and you're going to hug the knees into your chest and hold it, whatever feels good for you, and gently release those legs. Slide those feet away from you. You're going to extend the legs out nice and long and make your way back to laying on your back. We're going to start with that full roll up. And you're going to lift up and lower down. Now, if that feels good, you can exhale, roll up, lift one leg, lift the other leg, and then roll down. There's very slight lateral rotation if you feel like your hip flexors are gripping. You can switch your lifting legs and exhale right back down. I really love this exercise. It's a really good prep for teaser. Exhale. And reach right back and down. And when my arms are over my head, I'm not releasing my upper abs. I'm still using those upper obliques to really keep my core connected so I'm not opening my ribs as much as I can, which tends to be the thing I love to do. I love to flare my ribs. I don't know. It's just what I do. So as much as I can, I'm trying to avoid that. I'm really trying to keep that strength the whole time. You'll feel everything really working. You're going to reach those arms down by your sides. Bend your knee in, roll to your side, and come on to all fours. This is super, super fun. Now, I'm going to reach my hands on the outside of my mat and my legs on the outside of the mat. Now, I can hold here. I can also stay on my elbows. And we're doing sort of a circular push-up, really challenging the whole body. I can keep this on my knees. I can keep this on my elbows. I can find that connection. It's just really working the whole body. Again, we're trying to find that oblique work. So it's shift, down, shift, center, reversing it down, reversing it, center. The wider your arms and legs are, the more you'll find a little bit of a relief for the abs. If they get too wide, it's just crazy brutal as well. So just kind of find your sweet spot. Exhaling up, inhale at the apex, and exhale down. It's always nice to exhale through the most challenging part. Go ahead and come on out of that. Whoo, I'm covered in sand. Take a little bit of a twist if that feels good for you. Otherwise, just reach both hands up to the ceiling. Whatever is going on with your body, take a moment. You've kind of pushed it hard. We're going to go ahead and we're going to come across, nice figure four, flex that foot, don't push on your knee. Try to press between the shin and the femur. And if this is too much or too little, you can come to this nice position, nice figure four, pulling the knee towards your chest. Either way, you should feel a nice stretch through those hip flexors. Well, not the hip flexors so much, but the hamstrings for sure. And beautiful stretch other side. Nice juicy stretch into those hips. Try to lean forward and keep the back nice and long. Try not to round and dump into your back, but really keep it nice and straight. Now you can also, again, pull that knee into your chest, whatever feels good for you, but a nice juicy stretch into that hip. Should feel nice. It always feels good to stretch out your hips. I particularly am always tight in my hips. Go ahead Reach that hand across, and you're going to reach that hand really looking at, and you're just shift your focus from side to side, or your head in a nice circle, whatever feels good for you. And reach that hand up and take a little bit of a stretch through those beautiful tricep muscles, which always are our most confident places. We're always like, you know what I feel like? I feel like my triceps look amazing. We're going to switch to the other side, circle the head, kind of keeping that nice release. Go ahead and gently bring it up. Nice tricep on the other side. That should feel really good. I hope you guys had a good time today. Reach those hands up, round through the spine, reach up to the ceiling, reach those arms down, roll those shoulders, and hopefully I will see you guys again. I hope you had a killer workout. See you soon. Bye.